Welcome back into another exploration into the lesser-known side of the history of popular music. This is where we shine a spotlight on the unsung heroes who helped music get to where it is today, while remaining absent from the history books of rock. The soldiers without medals who rest in the unmarked graves of time, forever to remain unrecognized for their sacrifices. Yes, and today's subject is no exception. Now, a lot of people would agree that sex sells, and when it comes to sexual innuendo and heavy metal, the two go hand in hand. And though rock is not without its share of sex symbols, none could be so prominent, so enticing, so to the point as today's subject. And I'm quite certain that if you went and rummaged through your parents' record collection today, you would find a copy of the 14 times platinum selling album Boob Inspector. That's right, I'm talking about none other than the Full Metal Stallion himself, Ted Zenith.
He's being called the Michealangelos David of heavy metal and the Leonardo da Vinci of heavy metal, all rolled into one. Critics are calling this the album of the decade.
Alright ladies, who are we here to see?
He's got charisma, finesse, and if you believe the rumors, a great big...
The album features 67 instances of the word wiener and 41 instances of the word suck.
When I was growing up, man, we all wanted to be Ted Zenith.
When asked why he wanted to be a rock star, he told 1970s Metal Mag, quote, because it's the only job where you're allowed to show off your wiener.
The album Boob Inspector has just sold its 14 millionth copy, completely flabbergasting the music world.
Now the question everyone's asking, where is Ted Zenith? Zenith, 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 Zenith.
In spring of 1972, the band Vanilla Cream had just finished the final leg of their world tour, and they were preparing to go into the studio to record their next album. Although their singer, Billy Gagliano, had other plans, as he would announce live on the Martin Crass show just a week later, stunning audiences and his bandmates alike.
Reggie, he's a great guy and everything.
What? It's okay. Just say it. Is he a bad player?
Look, Martin, I'm gonna level with you because we're friends, right?
We're best friends. Yeah.
Reggie, his guitar playing, he's just a little, it's kind of a little sloppy for my taste.
It's a little sloppy. Yeah. Yeah, his guitar playing sloppy.
It's just a little bit too sloppy for my taste. And when this one time on the tour bus, I saw his dick while he was changing.
And was it small?
Man, I can't say, man. Come on,
was
man.
It? I can't.
Martin, I can't say.
Was it small?
Man.
Yes, you can. Tell me how small it was.
Go ahead, man.
Tell me now how small it was.
Yeah, it was small, yeah.
Oh, there you go, everybody. Reggie Cool's got a small dick.
Yes, and for those reasons, I am quitting Vanilla Cream.
Wow. Well, I might be surprised to find out we've actually got your old bandmate, Reggie Cool, on the phone. Reggie, how you doing? You're listening to the Martin Crash Show.
Yeah. Hey, Billy, what the hell's going on? How about this?
What are you talking about?
How about the next time I see you, you're gonna be Gaglianoing on my fist?
Come on, man.
Oh.
Are you listening to this guy, man? Come on, man.
Oh, come on. This is getting heated, guys. Come on, settle down.
Well, you know what? Forget it. Guess what?
Guess
what, Billy?
Huh?
Guess what?
What?
I'm totally flipping you off right now.
Yeah, well, so am I.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm still doing it. I don't even care.
Yeah, I'm flipping off the phone right now. It's going right through the phone line right to your face, man.
Yeah, well, so am I. I don't give a damn.
Whoa, guys, come on. I mean, I don't want to see you fight, unless you're still mad. Are you guys still flipping each other off?
Yes.
All right, well, I guess they're still mad at each other. Well, what are you going to do about that? Anyway, that's all the time we have. I'll see everybody next time on the Martin Crash Show.
The sudden on-air feud had left the band without a singer at a very crucial point in their career, and since Billy and Reggie were writing partners, they were left at a serious disadvantage for creating material for the next album. Until...
Before we even put out an ad in the paper, Ted was there, you know? Like, I don't know, it was just fate, man. He showed up at the front door of Intercourse Records the very minute they opened the doors, man.
Yeah, I remember Ted. We was best mates, him and I.
And he just walked right up to Cassidy Riverton, our manager, and he convinced her to let him be the new singer of Vanilla Cream.
Some people are just born the stuff of legends, and I think Ted was no exception.
And not only that, but he got her to change the name of the band too. We were henceforth known as Ted Zenith.
The record label scraped together a budget and the band hit the studio. Over the course of 3 weeks, they recorded the album Boob Inspector.
Yeah, it was weird, man. Ted already had a complete album's worth of lyrics written and arranged. Like he had been waiting for the moment his whole life. But when I listened to him sing, I couldn't deny it, man. He was on to something. So we went with it. I collaborated with him for a month or so, and then together we wrote Boob Inspector.
They also created a promotional video for the track Big Package, which was released 2 weeks before the album.
It was just Ted in a furnace room, wearing a tank top. But somehow it cost us $60,000. It was a total miss, man. 1970s Metal Mag called us a laughing stock.
Big package! Big package! You know money's food!
I thought it was alright.
Big package!
We braced for the album's release the same way you take a bad shit.
Boob Inspector was released in May of 1974 by Intercourse Records to less than thrilling sales.
The album did 7,000 in its first week. We were freaking out, man. We couldn't believe it. We thought we were finished.
It wasn't until the band would release their second single that things would really begin to take off for them. A single that would remain #1 for 78 weeks straight. A song that was so potent with Ted's natural charisma and each line dripping with his raw magnetism that the world just couldn't help itself. Everyone fell in love with Ted Zenith.
Now, that song, Love at First Sight, was actually based on a true story. Or at least that's what Ted told me. He said that's how he used to pick up women. He'd stand there on the street and then just show them his wiener. And he would get arrested, but he told me, hey man, it's just a misdemeanor. And then one time he was supposed to go to jail, but the judge was a lady, and he got off by showing her his wiener. So that's what the song is.
Boob Inspector began to fly off the shelves. Everything was looking good, but something wasn't quite sitting right with Reggie Cool.
It was during the recording of the album that I began to notice a few things. The first being the guitar. He had that guitar with him the first day we arrived at the studio. Now, I don't want to badmouth Ted, okay? But since he didn't show up to defend himself, I need to make something perfectly clear here, okay? Ted Zenith does not know how to play guitar. And with the exception of one solo on the album, if you can even call it that, Ted Zenith had nothing to do with any of the guitar on the album. None. But he has this guitar and he's like wearing it around the studio everywhere and he's carrying it all the time, and I'm just like, man. You know, every time you saw Ted go around with a guitar, I just kind of thought to myself, what are you doing, mate? And then he comes up and he's like, hey, I want to do a solo. Just let me rip one solo. And I'm like, okay, fine. Just do one. You can have one solo. Let him do it. You know, let him do it. Get him off your back kind of thing, right? And you know, I'm no John Van Halen or anything like that, right? But I like to think I can do a pretty tasteful solo. But he just comes in there with this solo and it's just one note. And now, whenever we play live, he's got the guitar on the whole time, just to do the one note solo. I fought for 3 days straight to get that solo off the album. Wow! I can't believe I just recorded that. Somebody call Guitar Magazine. Needless to say, I began to resent Ted. Because goddamn! Then the album comes out and I discover that he's somehow given himself all these bogus credits in the liner notes. I mean, like half of these like lead vocals, vocal arrangements, executive vocal producer, lead and auxiliary guitars, auxiliary percussion, synth. There's no synth on the album. There's no percussion on the album. But we do have one song called Innuendo. We gave him a box of condoms to use as a shaker. I wanna be in you. I wanna be. But that was it. He even credits himself with being the heart and soul of the band. Like, would he get 2% on the back end of being the heart and soul of the band? Like, what is that? With tensions in the band higher than they've ever been, and Ted's ego inflated to the point of bursting, the band disembarked on what would prove to be a very tumultuous world tour. They wouldn't get very far before controversy began to spread. You know, there came a time when I started to think to myself, you know, I never seen him with any girls or anything. I just figured maybe he was always into blokes, you know, nothing wrong with that.
Well, you know, word got out that while we were on tour, we got stopped at the border because Ted had a suitcase full of undeclared cucumbers, and I guess that's illegal. I don't know. I don't really remember, but
then one day, it all became clear, like shrimp on a barbie.
Basically, you know, word got out. People start talking. It wasn't anything conclusive, but it was enough to get people speculating.
2 months into the tour, and we're doing an autograph signing in Belgium, and Ted gets pantsed by a deranged fan. She reaches in the pants and she pulls out a cucumber. I still remember the screams, man. You'd think someone got shot.
The woman in question apparently fell into a coma for 2 weeks.
She was completely comatose. I think the cucumber ended up going on eBay for like $7,000 or something like that.
Her name was Margaret Thorstenstein, and she still hasn't spoken to this day. Rumor has it she's also developed an irrational fear of vegetables.
I mean, we were all completely disillusioned, you know? Like our whole career up until that point. Our band, our message. If Ted's wiener wasn't real, then maybe the music wasn't real. And maybe it was all a lie. It's just hard, man.
The Belgium incident would prove to be the band's downfall. Album sales halted, ticket sales stopped completely, refunds started coming in like crazy. The radio stopped playing their songs, the rest of the tour was cancelled, and pretty soon 1970s Metal Mag, even 1970s Metal Mag, named Ted Zenith its Poser of the Year.
So it's like the day of our Paris show, and I go and I open Ted's hotel room, and he's not there. I go check the balcony, and he's made one of those rope things out of bed sheets. He tied them all together, and he was gone. He didn't leave a note, nothing. I guess he just couldn't take it, and he disappeared. And that was the last time I ever saw him. You know, I guess he was right all along, though, really. Fame is a lot like a wiener. You've got the tip, and then, well, you know, you get the idea. The only thing I've never been able to figure out that still drives me mad to this day, what did he do or what did he say in the offices of Intercourse Records to make him the head of our band? I guess we'll never know.
Ted Zenith was never seen again, although some people believe he reinvented himself as Ivan Steele, the French Eurodance sensation. But this is just a wild, speculative rumor. The truth is that no one really knows what happened to Ted Zenith, and we probably never will. And for now, that'll just have to be good enough. Until next time, good night. And be safe.